momentous decree came as a great beacon, light of hope to tens, no, to hundreds, no, to thousands, no, but to millions of Negro slaves who had been smeared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak, of course, to the end of their long night captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro is still not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still badly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a vast ocean of poverty in the midst of all the material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in American corner in society and finds him or herself exiled in their own land. So, we've come today to dramatize a shameful condition, a shameful act. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American here today is to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, will be guaranteed the unalienable rights to life, to liberty, and pursuit of happiness. My good people, we must forever conduct our struggle on a high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. The marvelous new militancy, which has of course engulfed the Negro community, must not lead us to distrust all white men. For many of our white brothers and sisters, to the evidence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. We cannot walk alone. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must forever make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot stand back. We cannot stand back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? When will you be satisfied? When will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied, ladies and gentlemen, as long as the Negro is still victim to unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies heavy with fatigue of travel, cannot gain simple lodging in motels of the highways and hotels in the cities. We cannot be satisfied. As long as the Negro's basic mobility is moved from a smaller ghetto to a larger one, we can never be satisfied. As long as our children are stripped of their adulthood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating, for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and the Negro in New York believes that he has nothing to which to vote for. No, we cannot be satisfied. We can never be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I say to you today, my friends, even though we face difficulties of today and of tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together in the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis for freedom and justice. I have a dream, ladies and gentlemen, that my 4 little children, my children, will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I have a dream that down in Alabama, with its vicious racists and its governor having his lips dripping with words of nullification and interpossession, one day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream. This will be the day that all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. It is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. Every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this has to become true. It has to become true. So, let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening organs of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountains of Georgia. Let freedom ring from the Lookout Mountains of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountain side. Let freedom ring. When we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every city and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up the day where all God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Catholics and Protestants, will be able to join hands and sing in the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, great God Almighty, we are free at last. Ladies and gentlemen, the year was 1963. Martin Luther King was giving this speech on the March on Washington for jobs and freedom. He delivered it in front of the Lincoln's Memorial, where he spoke to a crowd of over 250 people who had the same dream. They shared the same dream as him. It was a dream of freedom, to end racism, for equality and unity in America. This speech changed history. It made Martin Luther King to gain national and international awareness. It was able to increase the momentum of the people to fight for their rights. Because how can a man not vote just because of their skin color? Come on. He also won a Nobel Peace Prize. Not only that, he left a great legacy. But there were some downfalls. He became a threat because his mouth was used to make America have a bad image. This made FBI increase their surveillance. This led to his tragic death just because of a simple speech. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a dream? That is the question of tonight. This is Agnes Njeri signing out.